Welcome to the rounds of both Belgium and Michigan. This weekend, we are seeing the field is split. 35 cars are at the St. Pierre circuit, and 28 cars are at the Flint Autodrome in Michigan. Both races are run on the same day, so teams had to decide whether or not which track they were going to go to. Therefore, everybody qualified for this race, or for these two races. Obviously, whichever race they attempted, they made. And right now, we're looking at a pretty decent racing ready to go here. There are more cars here in Belgium because Belgium holds more. The St. Pierre circuit holds more cars than the Flint Autodrome does. After this, we have a record-sized field for the American 700 in 2 weeks' time, which is going to be a very interesting event, to say the least. As you can see, both these races will be condensed in one video, and the length of these races are also half the distance of what a normal race would be. So these are only 65 miles in both these races, so you don't have a whole lot of time to dilly-dally around the length of a qualifier. Anyway, let's go down to the round of Belgium.
Christian Van der Pesch and Will Lewis lead the field down to the green, but Tyler Faber's already up to second position here at the St. Pierre circuit. McCain's around in the back. McCain's around in the back, and we've already got a stack up. McCain then flies over the curbing there. And that's actually going to hold up a lot of people here as they cycle their way around this track. We've got actually a lot more cars than we did here. We got another car off the track, further up the track. Somebody's way up in the trees. That's McCain. And somebody's also way out there. That's Jessica Shelton. Here it is again. Or here it is right here. That's a big hit there as they're going to fly. There's a dirt embankment there. Both drivers amazingly would get out of their cars. That was a pretty vicious hit, though, as Van der Pesch continues to lead. Also on lap 1, we saw the 8 car would turn Artu Nikula around. Nikula would then spin out and get stuck on the dirt embankment. Luckily, I think Nikula would get going again. I'm not sure, however. Also, Matthias Paulsen would get into Vincent Allen, and around they would go a little further up the track, so that's just lap 1 there. There was a lot of concern, though, about the 84 and the 94 cars. However, like I said, amazingly, they got out of their cars after that. There is kind of a wall on the other side of that embankment, and I think they might need to rethink that the next time they try a Belgian race here. This track isn't exactly the safest on the schedule, to say the least. 3 Petronas cars now are trying to catch Will Lewis for 3rd position. That's DJ Curtis, Zachary Fitzwater, and Kyle Micheli. This is the first time we've seen Fitzwater in the Petronas. We're actually seeing Fabers now trying to go for the lead on Vincent Allen here. This is an impressive battle here. This track does provide good racing. It just needs a lot of safety upgrades, to be honest with you. Also, great run by Joshua Michaels in the top 10. Ryan Matthews doing well, Roman Rahal, Nicholas Vernier in 10th position. Great to see him that far off the grid. Last week's winner, Sean Angel, didn't qualify very well here at St. Pierre. I believe his car broke down on the qualifying run, but he's all the way up to 20th from the 35 cars that started. He's battling with Ben Atkins there. I believe, is Lester here? Yes, Lester's here, so all the quick fit cars are here. Bruce Matthews, they've split their team up. Kuzi and Ryan Matthews are here. Kuzi won here last year, if you remember. He's in 13th today. And then Chris Washer's actually in his home state of Michigan right now. So Chris Washer's going to be running the round of Michigan. Another driver looking to have a good run here is Lucien Ekdahl. Ekdahl, if you remember, dominated a good portion of last year's race here. He's down in 16th position, though, so it is going to be very difficult for him to get up the order, as we're actually seeing Kuzi and Lethinen are having a pretty good battle here, going through some of the S-bends on this end of the track. Ryan Matthews is on the move now. He's just gone by Roman Rahal, but like I said, there isn't a whole lot of time to really be messing around on this track. It's only 42 laps with under a minute lap times around this track, because it is a very small, short road course here that is very fast. I have a feeling this race might be a bit of a quick one where a lot of people are going to be wondering, where did that race go? Same with around in Michigan as Van der Pesch continues to lead this race. As Thaber can't really do anything, and it's great to see Will Lewis filling in for the injured Audra Baranowskis, doing a great job in the 17 car. Nicolas Vernier is trying to make a move on Roman Rahal, but it's clear that the Koenigsegg has more power down the straightaway than the Mustang does. Vernier is a road course specialist, doesn't do well on the ovals, but is a definite road course specialist. I believe this is Anton Polyakov's first start as well. Obviously now most drivers are going to be, every driver is going to have their first start, with the exception of Vance Caldwell. Caldwell is on injury, and they're, of course, in Michigan. That Team Flame team is Vance Caldwell's the only driver that's signed on full-time that will not have his first start. Zolt Dormitory, the Hungarian, will actually be driving that car. Ooh, that's Sean Angel wrecked! Sean Angel is wrecked down there. Wonder what happened. Sean Angel's battling really hard with, that's Gabe Messina. Or, no, I'm sorry, that's Ben Atkinson. Around he would go and put that one into the sand pit over there. Van der Pesch continues to lead this race in the Volkswagen Red Bull car, as Thaber is now actually under some threat now, or is actually getting challenged by Will Lewis a bit here. Going to be very close racing here at St. Pierre when it comes down to it here, as Will Lewis does look pretty quick here. Maybe Will Lewis ought to have a full-time ride somewhere. Baranowskis was starting to improve her season before she got hurt at Euro Speedway. She should be back for the good old American 700, as will Vance Caldwell for that matter. But looking back here, as the three Petronas cars aren't too bad. Actually, DJ Curtis is setting some pretty quick laps in comparison, but actually the fastest car right now, I believe, is Will Lewis. Problems for Lucien Ekdahl, and I believe Scott Roush went off the track as well. I kind of bumped the accelerate thing right as it happened by mistake there. I meant to pause it. And Roush and the 39 car went off the track, and that won't be good for Roush's championship hopes, as Ekdahl is very slow right now as well. Ekdahl needed some good runs, but Roush's championship hopes are taking a little bit of a bash there. Tyler Thaber from second would actually pit a bit early here. Not sure if this is scheduled or not. It shouldn't be, but he's going to rejoin the race. Of course, this is a very interesting pit road exit. He wants to get in front of that Minervini, I can tell you that. And he does. Roman Rahal would also have a mechanical problem and fall out of the race, so tough break for the Koenigsegg Brigade. Meanwhile, Anton Polyakov's got a tire going down, and Bazianov, his teammate, will force him off the road, so tough break for Anton Polyakov. Tanya Jackwater would be blowing up, and actually that's how Polyakov would get involved in that little hit there. Jackwater would wreck, would be fall out of the race because of it. Tough break for Jackwater. Vincent Allen's having a little bit of trouble with some of the lap, or I'm sorry, that's Van der Pesch is having a little bit of trouble with some of the lap traffic, but he would get by Corona quite easily there once he got to the straightaway. He was held up a little bit. He is pulling on Will Lewis a bit as they kind of rocket through this very fast portion of this track here as they figure out a way around some of these corners here. And Nicolas Vernier from a good 8th place position would blow up the FPM, and that's going to be him going out of the race. Actually, Kuzi would get held up there and actually lose a spot to Trek Tauger, who is having a really good run, actually, in the Marlon. DJ Curtis and Zachary Fitzwater, almost called him Saren in there, would get held up by Juan Pablo Corona there in the Minervini, and ooh, a little bit of contact there, as they would force Corona off the track as Fitzwater's trying to make a move on his more experienced team leader. That is DJ Curtis. Curtis quickly throws a block on him there. But Corona's been a bit of a factor here, and he's going to make Bisceglia go wide. Bisceglia goes off the curbing there, gets back on, and I don't think Bisceglia is going to be that happy with Corona. And now Michaels is going to get held up by him as well. So this track is not easy to pass on, believe it or not. And it takes a lot of guts to pass on this track, kind of similar to the Michigan short track we're going to. It takes a lot of guts to pass on as well. So kind of a continuity thing there between the two tracks we're at this week. Meanwhile, Van der Pesch now has caught the back of Bazianov. I don't know where he's from. He's from some weird country here in Europe. I hate to say weird, but actually because he's been held up so much, he is, actually, Will Lewis is really catching him here. And I'm not thinking Van der Pesch is going to be all that happy with the Mentorvini. Ooh, Bezyanov's not going to make him easy to pass. Ooh, contact! Oh, he just manhandled Bezyanov right off the track, and Bezyanov's going to go into the scenery out there. And oh gosh, how is he on the outside of the wall? I don't know, but that's embarrassing. Because of all that, Will Lewis now has gained quite a lot on Van der Pesch, and there's another slow Mentorvini up there being Anton Polyakov. So, Van der Pesch is not happy with the Mentorvinis right now, and I'm pretty certain Will Lewis is in love with them because he's been getting through lap traffic quite easily. If Will Lewis pulls this off as a super sub driver, I don't know why he doesn't have a ride for the American 700, or he doesn't have a ride for, ooh, crash in the back. I was gonna say, or a full-time ride. Ooh, is that somebody in the grass out there? Hold on. Once again, it's Juan Pablo Corona, and he's being held up by, or he's holding up Ryan Matthews and out into the grass out there. That's a pretty hard hit into an Armco barrier. Corona would be taken to a local medical center, but we do believe he will be all right for the American 700. Possible concussion symptoms for Corona. Meanwhile, Christian Van der Pesch has caught Anton Polyakov, and Polyakov's not making his life easy, as actually both Will Lewis and them. Oh, Polyakov forces Van der Pesch off the track, and Will Lewis is going to take the lead that way. Will Van der Pesch lose another position here, as Will Lewis now is trying to find any way by Polyakov possible, and I think Lewis should get him here on the straightaway. Maybe not here. That Porsche is a lot faster. Yeah, right there. Well, yeah, or Will Lewis has a pretty nice lead right now. And meanwhile, Christian Van der Pesch has had so many issues with lap traffic, and yep, that was, I think, the one-fingered salute to Anton Polyakov there, as DJ Curtis, Zachary Fitzwater, and Kyle Michelia are going to have to find some way to get by Polyakov. Meanwhile, Mifune Sanjero is trying to have issues with Bezyanov, and Bezyanov would force Sanjero way off the track, and losing control quite easily, and would fly over the curbing and into a dirt embankment. Meanwhile, the Petronas Hondas are having issues with Polyakov, and that's going to put Curtis wide off onto the curbing. That's going to put Fitzwater in front of Curtis into third position. So Fitzy's, I think, in line for his first podium at this rate. FPM unreliability would continue as Moshe Gurian from a disappointing 15th would grenade the motor and fall out of the race. A tough break for Gurian. Eddie Shimpadkar is being, well, a bit of a nuisance to Sean Angel, and Vincent Allen's going to decide he doesn't want anything to do with it and dumps him. So Vincent Allen's reign of terror is continuing, to be honest with you. The field pretty much is in for their only pit stop right now, as we're looking for where Van der Pesch is. Van der Pesch stayed out an extra lap, as did Joshua Michaels, Yevgeny Kuznetsov, DJ Curtis, despite having a couple of issues there on that run. Stayed out, as we're seeing, ooh, more contact, I heard. That sounds fun. I couldn't find where the contact was, but Will Lewis now is left to try and catch. I did hear contact that time, and there is some smoke down in turn 3, and there is, or down at the other end of the track. This one would be Collium Lucis and Ben Atkins here. Atkins and Lucis are battling quite hard. Ooh, Lucis goes around through a wall and into a guardrail down there. Lucis would continue onward, however, as fun and games continue here at the St. Pierre's. Ooh, gosh, that's Will Lewis against a fence. Yeah, Will Lewis is battling with Tyler Thaber, and, well, Thaber just turns him, and, considering Will Lewis was the provisional leader at the time, I don't think we're going to be seeing, Thaber starting up near the front of the grid after the American 700 either. And that was the battle for the lead, actually, so Tyler Thaber is leading this race by pretty much wrecking Will Lewis. Oh, no, am I hearing more fun and games on this track? I think I heard some more. Oh, wow, that's Sean Angel blowing up. What happened to him? Sean Angel would wreck Anton Polyakov here, sending him way around here and losing control and, oh no, into a grassy bush thing. And because of Angel's off-track excursion, sand got into the system and caused him to blow up his car, so Sean Angel's out of the race. Zachary Fitzwater had a pretty good pit stop, however, and if Sean Angel were to get, or if Tyler Thaber gets penalized for that incident with Will Lewis, Fitzwater could be in the provisional lead here. And yes, it looks like they're bringing Thaber down for a penalty, so Zachary Fitzwater is your leader of this race. And Tyler Thaber had a pretty massive penalty for that too, so Tyler Thaber, and we're hearing that that he's being called to the steward's desk after this race, so Tyler Thaber, I think, is going to have a pretty substantial penalty leveled on him. Christian Vanderpesch is trying his best to catch Zachary Fitzwater, but Fitzwater is actually pulling on. Zachary Fitzwater, fired by CJ Racing for not performing. I'm thinking that was a bit of a mistake, CJ Racing. We'll see how you guys do in Michigan, but I'm thinking Fitzwater's proving you inherently wrong today by leading this race right now and pulling on the field. Fitzy's doing a great job today here at St. Pierre. And we have more Meneravini shenanigans here as Damir Bazianov would get turned by Jay Stella and into the scenery they both go. Bazianov would be stuck out there, Stella would keep going. Now we've seen how difficult lapped traffic has been on this track, and they're coming, and Zachary Fitzwater, the race leader, is coming up to Henry Sanford, who has had some engine trouble today. He also has Sanjero in front of him, so Fitzy's got a pretty big lead over Vanderpesch, and he's gaining. He's just got to play it very smart now, and if he does that, he's going into his first Orion Elite Series victory here in St. Pierre. A couple of cars that we haven't really seen much this year is Trek Tauger. He's in 7th position, ahead of both Bruce Matthews cars that are in this race. Last year's winner, Evgeny Kuznetsov, is in 8th. And Ryan Matthews is in 9th. He was doing really well earlier in this race. Lucis has had issues today. Gabe Messina is having issues. Oh, Tyler Thaber's broken down. I think he might be having a little talk with the officials pretty soon here. Fitzwater is having a couple of issues, though, getting by Henry Sanford here, and we're going to see if Fitzy can do it well. This is a very risky area to pass because actually the Ferrari is faster in a straight line than the Petronas Honda is, except the Petronas Honda is so much quicker through the corners than the Ferrari. It's very easy for Fitzwater to kind of get held up here, and this is where Vanderpesch and Bisceglia have really got to start laying down the heat. Great run by Joshua Michaels in 4th. Didn't really expect that. As Zachary Fitzwater, once again, has got to try and get by this lap traffic here. He doesn't have long in this race, and I don't think he can afford to sit around behind him. Remember, Fitzwater last year in this race, I gotta say, got suspended from the American 700 for causing a pretty bad wreck with Chris Dodd. There's a reason why Dodd's not here this weekend. And actually, I'm kind of surprised that Dodd hired Fitzwater after that for CJ Racing, and then subsequently fired him for the driver who used to drive the 6 car, Tomas Saarinen. And now we're seeing Fitzwater has just, he's losing ground big time now to our good friend Christian Vanderpesch, who is, not too bad actually. He lost about 0.3 of a second there. At that rate, I'm guessing Fitzwater can probably stay behind Henry Sanford and probably still come home with a victory here. However, there may be another issue for Zachary Fitzwater coming up here, and that would be Damir Bazianov. Now, Fitzy might not catch him in time. But Sanjero, not really an issue either. It's just Zachary Fitzwater's just got to be very careful with getting by lap traffic, because we've seen that lap traffic and making moves here tends to end in rather hilarious crashing circumstances. And This track is quite known for its very harsh wrecks. We've seen it in the past with Chris Dodd last year, and we saw Jessica Shelton and we saw Corona go off. We saw Shelton and McCain take a pretty violent wreck into the scenery, and you don't want to do that too often here. Oh, there goes Eddie Padcar grenading his 21 car. That's Padcar done and out of the race. He wasn't really doing that well today, and Padcar is going to fall out. Christian Vander Pesch is setting some pretty quick laps as Fitzwater now is really being held up by Henry Sanford now. But see, Sanford's got such straight line speed down this straightaway. Fitzwater can't do a whole lot with him in that Petronas car. But see, when it comes up to the cornering complexes, Fitzwater just closes right back up, but he can't make the move entering a corner because Sanford just pulls on him. Zachary Fitzwater, though, would get a bit impatient with the 27 car, and he would wreck the car from the lead, giving the lead to Vander Pesch. Vander Pesch just takes the lead as Fitzwater threw it away with only a couple of laps to go. Oh, he had that win. All he had to do was stay behind him. Oh, that's gotta suck for him. As Michaels is in third position, but Vander Pesch just walked into the lead. But he's going to deal with maybe Henry Sanford coming up too, and now, oh man, Vander Pesch just got the luckiest break of his life, and Fitzwater just tossed away his first win. Oh! It's the final lap for Christian Vander Pesch, who got really lucky. Like I said, Fitzwater's going to be kicking himself for that one. He had the win. He had it. And just lost it right there at the 3 to go. He lost it. But now, Christian Vander Pesch now doesn't have too long left in this race. As we're going through the order, oh, Sanjero, oh gosh, Sanjero, that could be an interesting battle if something bad were to happen in front of Vander Pesch. Ooh, if I'm Vander Pesch, I'm not looking forward to this. And they're gonna catch some, ooh, Vander Pesch is, no, don't do that. Oh, gosh, oh, no. All this is going on around Vander Pesch. Can he bring it home without issue? There's Sanjero going off the track, but Christian Vander Pesch is going to win this race. Vachelia second, third goes to Michaels, fourth to Fitzwater, fifth to Lester. We'll go down to your full finishing results. So Christian Vander Pesch wins this race. Kyle Vachelia second, Joshua Michaels third, Zachary Fitzwater fourth. Like I said, he's got to be kicking himself for that one. Fifth goes to Casey Lester. Sixth goes to Joki Lethinen. Seventh goes to Evgeny Kuznetsov. Eighth to Ryan Matthews. Ninth to Gabe Messina. 10th to Ben Atkins. 11th to DJ Curtis. 12th to Trevor Tauger, who had a pretty bad run towards the end of the race. 13th to Jay Stella. 14th to Thanos. 15th to Vincent Allen. 16th to Henry Sanford. 17th to Callium Lucis. 18th to Nikula. 19th to Sanjero, who was running actually in the top 10 when that happened. 20th to Thaber, who I think will be getting a pretty big penalty coming up soon. 21st to Will Lewis. 22nd to Bazianov. 23rd to Eddie Padcar, 24th to Anton Pulyakov, 25th to Sean Angel, 26th to Moshe Gurian, 27th to Paulson, 28th to Corona, 29th to Vernier, 30th to Jackwater, 31st to Roush, 32nd to Ekdahl, 33rd to Rahal, 34th to Shelton, and 35th to McCain. So we will see you in a couple of about 6 or 7 hours for the round of Michigan. Tristan Wilhoit and Kyle Collins would lead the field down to the green here at the round at the Flint Autodrome here at the round of Michigan, and away we go here at Flint for the second 65-mile race here in the Orion Elite Series today. As 28 cars instead of 35 will take on this track, and we've got a lot of more slower cars here. This is Hans Goldwolf. McKinney's in this race. Yamatoshi's in here. There's Zolt Dormitory, Tomas Saarinen, and a couple of other cars in this race, as Ryan Griffin's already going for P2 here. The Michigan native, I think, wants to win at his home track. And as you can see, this track isn't very grippy, and they have to go pretty slow through the corners around this track to really make sure that they handle this track quite nicely. Gotta give props to Michigan native Jeffrey Finguy. In his last race for Team Flame, he's going over to drive one of the Voltix one-off cars for the American 700, the electric Voltix car. He qualified 7th in the Team Flame car. Good to see Finguy doing a good job here, as he's actually getting some pressure by the 2 FBR cars, or by the 3 FBR cars. Yeah, Finguy's running with the FBRs. There's Jacob Hart, the winner of this race last season. Right now, Silver Speed is kicking butt. The Michigan-based team has 1st, 2nd, and 4th right now in running order right here. But Nick Pericles running P4. Great to see Pericles doing a good job here in good to see Silver Speed, and the Michigan crowd is very receptive of the Silver Speed Brigade, as Kyle Collins is in 3rd. Collins is looking to be a big championship contender as well. By lap 17, however, Tristan Wilhoit's already lapping Hans Goldwolf, his first start of the season so far, as Goldwolf is very easily lapped, as Ryan Griffin now, it's his turn to deal with Goldwolf, and Goldwolf's not making life easy for Griffin, as I think Griffin maybe gave him a little bit of a bump to get him out of the way. But yes, Tristan Wilhoit is getting into some heavier, slow lap traffic here. I'm seeing the team Baxter cars, the Baxter Motorsports cars. Of course, Richard Baxter is sponsoring the consolation race for the American 700. The Richard Baxter You Tried Hard race. You'll see that right here, too, as they get by Yamatoshi quite easily. As, Wilhoit had a little bit of hesitation there with Yamatoshi, as looks like actually Pericles is losing ground to, is actually going to lose a spot to Charles Samper here on lap 19. Gonna be honest, BFM not doing very well here. Running 19th, 18th, well, 19th, came across the line, 19th, 17th, and 16th right now. BFM was looking to have a really good run here, and right now they're not seeing that, with Madeline Myatt leading their brigade right now in 16th position. Actually, Jeffrey Finguy's lost a couple of spots as well by being caught on the outside line. First caution of the race would come out when Noah Hart would break down and Blaze McKinney would wreck him, or run into the back of him, and that would bring out the first caution. So, tough break for Noah Hart and McKinney. Interestingly enough here, Nick Pericles and Madeline Myatt stayed out. I'm not sure if they missed the pit road or not, but they're staying out, which is kind of interesting. I bet they're maybe betting on another yellow, which could be a pretty good bet because this track isn't easy to pass on. This track is harder than the St. Pierre circuit. Noah Hart would get back into this race, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is. He's on the inside line a lap down. As Nick Pericles, who did stay out with Madeline Myatt, will lead this race, however. I'm looking at maybe Charles Samper on the inside line, maybe to try and get up there if they can clear. I don't know, but actually, maybe not. I'm thinking that inside line is a bad place to be. As, ooh, contact! Griffin's around! Griffin's around, big time, and there's Yamatoshi around, and we got a big stack up! A big stack up here! That is not good! Meanwhile, through all of this, Tristan Wilhoit would have to pit, as would Ethan Moore for a situation there, and that actually really helped out Madeline Myatt and, Nick Pericles, but we're going to take a look and see at that wreck again. So it started when, well, Goldwolf just couldn't control his car, and around he went into pushing Griffin around, and then we're going to take a look and see what happens further up. Yeah, this one all starts when Yamatoshi comes down to a void, and, well, that puts Aaron Perkins, or that puts Eugene DeMax around, and Aaron Perkins and would slide into, I believe, Aiden Shepard there, and that's going to, I think, put Perkins definitely either out of the race or darn close to it. So Charles Samper on the majority of the field didn't pit. We only had actually a couple of cars come in, as Wilhoit had to, or a couple of these cars in the back had to definitely pit for damage repair. So Sanford leads this race, but there's a slow flame car in front of him on the tail end of the lead lap. That's Luca Fontana still trying to get on the lead laps to the end. So I don't know who will end up getting an advantage here. Looks like Samper, no, Collins is going to try down low on Samper, but it didn't really work. As they're right now trying to deal with it. Ooh, Yamatoshi slides up and nearly wrecks Alex Allen there. I'm kind of concerned about Satoshi Yamatoshi here, or whatever the heck the name is. As, 3 wide off the corner. You don't want to do that too often, as Chris Washer in the only Roos Matthews here is doing a good job trying to maneuver Yamatoshi there. As, there's Gold Wolf acting up as Noah Hart's coming down pit road again, I think, for a tire rub. Gold Wolf nearly came down there on Griffin as Madeline Myatt's falling way down the order there. As, the 14 nearly wrecks the 11 there. That almost was bad. As, problems for John Arndt. Looks like Arndt's got a tire going down of some sort, and that's going to knock him effectively out of the race. So it's a DNC 1-2-3 right now with Sanford leading Collins, who's leading Alex Allen right now. Noah Hart's a few laps down. Fontana's struggling. Ethan Moore's a lap down due to a pit stop violation under caution. Shocks right there. That's almost a wreck there with Dodd, and look at Finn Guy's almost going to try and get on the podium here. Finn Guy's going to go for 4th here. That's an impressive running thing for him. That's going to be very, very interesting here as Finn Guy's trying to make this move work here. 3 wide is not easier on this track. And Finn Guy makes it work. He's up to 4th position in a Team Flame car. He can thank his teammate for that one. His Shock is just trying to hold on the outside. He really can't do a whole lot there. As now you're starting to see some of these faster cars come up through the order, like Will Hoyt, a couple of other cars. They're trying to come up the order. More contact between Dodd and Shepard now. That is not going to go well for some of those drivers as we're looking through this order. Very close racing here out of the Flint Autodrome. Charles Sanford continues to lead, but oh no, he would have a problem giving Collins the lead with Alex Allen in 2nd position. So now Charles Sanford is definitely got a problem here as, Jeffrey Finn Guy hits him. The 4th place guy hits him, and we got another stack up here. I see Jacob Hart, last year's winner, has a lot of damage. Eugene DeMax has some damage. Saarinen and Pericles has damage, and that's going to bring out the 3rd caution of the race here at the Flint Autodrome. And that's actually going to put Will Hoyt up to 3rd as the 2 DNCs immediately dive for the pits. Jake Baskinger decided to stay out. Arndt's supposed to be on the tail end of the lead lap and in front of Baskinger, but for some reason he didn't get in front of him. Or he should be on the inside line, either or. Alex Allen's in 2nd position, and it looks like Ethan Moore, who's down a cylinder, has a big, big problem with that car. And we've got a lot of issues now with, that is Jake Baskinger. They would actually end up getting Sanford's car running again, as now Alex Allen is on a charge to try and catch Jake Baskinger, the leader. The next caution would come out here as Luca Fontana would push up the track into Kyle Collins, which would turn his teammate around, and that would bring out the next caution of the race as Sanford would actually get avoided by every other car, so very impressive avoidance there by some of the other cars. Meanwhile, Jake Baskinger then under this yellow would pit, giving the lead to, I believe, Alex Allen. So now we're seeing some more pit stop games because of these cautions. We really actually didn't expect this many cautions out of this track, considering last season we had 110 lap race, and I think we only saw like 1 caution. So Alex Allen leads over Chris Dodd and William Brock. Kyle Collins, despite being involved in the wreck, is 4th, and Kyle Schock Jr. is in 5th. So now we've got to the front of the field. Alex Allen's got to lead this field now. We're just past halfway. Actually, Allen's going to get a good run there as Dodd's now going to be under threat, I think, by the 51 here, who might have tried to get to the inside there to get under, because actually Dodd's teammate's the one that's causing a lot of issues for him. As you can see, as if Brock gets to the inside, he will very easily take over 2nd position here for the BFM Brigade. He's just got to make sure Arndt doesn't screw around too much here. As we're seeing, yeah, Arndt doesn't have a very, oh god, 3 wide. Let the fun begin if they're going to try 3 wide. Yeah, they're not good. As Collins is actually trying the outside, making the outside to work on. Oh, Brock's trying 3 wide, maybe. Maybe not. It all depends on if Arndt slides up, and he is sliding up big time. Now we are going to see 3 wide. Actually, maybe not, as Dub tried shutting the door on Brock, but Brock made it stick. Got 3 wide further back. That is between Collins, Arndt, and Demax. Demax and Arndt are battling for position as Arndt's losing a ton of ground there as Wilhoit's trying something now to get by a couple of cars here. 3 wide's very risky on this track, and you've got to be very careful about it here, as we got another 3 wide further back with Sanford, as playing a lot of fun games here with the traffic, I take it. Meanwhile, Alex Allen's in his own zip code because of all this fun. Alex Allen's pretty much loving this. He's hoping that there isn't another caution. However, with the way some of these people have been racing, I wouldn't be surprised if there was another caution, as we're starting to see some cars work their way up the order. Finally starting to see, like, the BFMs come to life. Madeline Nye and a couple others. Tristan Wilhoit, however, would get by the pack group and get a breakaway, as actually William Brock's falling back quite a lot, as Collins and Washer now get by Brock. Washer would slide up the track, giving 3rd to Collins, however. However, Hans Goldwolf would begin to hold up Tristan Wilhoit quite mightily here, as, well, I think Wilhoit's going to make that a pretty easy move. Alex Allen, the race leader, would be in heavy lap traffic here, as, he's trying to get through this pack. He's got a pretty big lead over Wilhoit, but it's going to be very hard, I think, for Alex Allen to really make, time up here in this kind of traffic. However, Tristan Wilhoit would likewise have the same issues, and actually Alex Allen would do his best to get through that lap traffic, and actually is on his way to a pretty good result at this rate. Alex Allen's now on the final lap, and he really would just cruise home here. He got through the pack like he needed to do, and Alex Allen's going to come home and take the round of Michigan. So, with that being said, Allen wins Michigan. 2nd's going to go to Tristan Wilhoit. He needed that for his points haul. 3rd goes to Kyle Collins. And 4th goes to Jake Baskinger. And the final car in the top 5 would actually go to Nick Pericles. So we'll go to your full finishing result. So, Alex Allen wins the race. Tristan Wilhoit 2nd. Kyle Collins 3rd. Jake Baskinger 4th. Nick Pericles 5th. Chris Washer comes home 6th, the Michigan native. 7th goes to another Michigan native, Kyle Schock Jr. Madeline Nye at 8th. William Brock 9th. Chris Dodd 10th, the first car lap down. Tomas Sarin 11th. And Allie Nelson 12th. Ryan Griffin 13th. 14th goes to Skylar Johnson. 15th goes to John Arndt. 16th goes to Charles Sanford. 17th goes to Eugene Demax. 18th goes to wow, that was called Eugene. Ethan Moore. 19th goes to Aiden Shepard. 20th goes to Zol Dormitory. 21st goes to Luca Fontana. 22nd to Satoshi Yamatoshi, or whatever the name is. 23rd goes to Noah Hart. I'm sure he wanted a better run than that. 24th goes to Hans Goldwolf. 10 laps down, by the way, in a 110 lap race. So that's pretty hard to do. 25th goes to Jacob Hart. 26th goes to Jeffrey Finguy. Probably deserve more than that. 27th goes to Aaron Perkins, and 28th goes to Blaze McKinney. The biggest race of the season is the next race. The American 700, the 11th running of it. I think a lot of people are excited for the possibility of 167 to 168 cars attempting one single race. The American 700 festivities are upon us now. We'll see you then.